When Brady retired for good this time in the offseason, many thought that the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were going to take a huge step backwards. Some even thought they would be the worst team in the division, but they have actually been better than people thought they were going to be. They are still not amazing and no one would put them as a top 10 team in the NFL, but they are getting wins when they need to, and honestly the biggest surprise has been the offense. After Brady, the Bucs decided to give former number 1 overall pick Baker Mayfield a shot at leading the team. He hasn't been horrible and definitely has moments where he shows his talent of why he was such a high draft pick, but he still makes mistakes too. The biggest issue I've noticed is he either doesn't see when his receivers are open or he is hesitating when they are open, and by the time he throws it to them, the defenders have caught up already. However, after his loss to the Bills on Thursday night, Baker Mayfield is at 1,600 yards, 10 touchdowns, and has been picked off 4 times this season. Again, the talent is there, but he isn't going to be a game-winning quarterback for them. Luckily for him, he does have 2 great receivers to go to. First is Mike Evans. He has finished every season with over 1,000 yards receiving, and it looks like he is on pace to do it again for his 10th consecutive season. The other guy is receiver Chris Godwin, who has the speed to take any pass to the house if he can just stay healthy. After those two, there aren't any other players who are more than just depth and situational players. The biggest weakness for this offense, in my opinion, is the offensive line. They don't get much of a push for their backs and get beat a lot. Mayfield can move around the pocket pretty well, but he cannot do it every play like Mahomes or Hurts or Lamar. Sometimes he has to rely a lot on his 2 top weapons. The defense is nowhere near as dominant as it used to be when they won the Super Bowl a few years ago with Tom Brady, but they are still pretty good with solid players on every level on the defense. What helps them is head coach Todd Bowles. While he may not be a great head coach in general, he is a great defensive-minded coach who gets everything he can out of this defense. But both the offense and defense are solid but not great. That doesn't really sound like a team that can go to the playoffs. Well, lucky for them, they have an easy remaining schedule and are in a division that anyone can win. The only teams they have left that I would consider tough teams would be the 49ers and Jaguars. I'm close to putting the Texans in that category, but I need to see a little more before they go into that group. Other than that, most of their games are winnable against the Titans, Colts, Packers, Saints, Falcons, and Panthers twice. Even if they don't win one of those winnable games, they are in a division that any one of those teams can win. The Panthers would be the only ones who likely don't have a chance at this point. But in reality, no one knows who's going to win the NFC South, and that's a good thing for the Bucs. In the end, anything can happen. If things don't go well for the Buccaneers this season, then it might be time for some changes, especially at the quarterback position and the head coach position. This is Baker Mayfield's 4th team since being drafted, and he hasn't been able to find a team that he can stick to. If he can't win this division that doesn't have a top team, then there's no reason to think they'll keep him. This is also Todd Bowles' 2nd shot at coaching this team since Bruce Arians retired. If he doesn't win this division and get into the playoffs, the staff upstairs might think it's best to move on from him. A lot depends on how the Buccaneers do this season and finish out. Otherwise, it might be a very different team in 2024. Bitch, we some stars, pull up in foreign cars.